So am I audible?
Yes, yes, you are audible.
Yes.
Don't worry, you will do very good. चिंता मत कीजिए.
Okay, sir.
I have opened the YouTube also.
Okay, sir.
हाँ, हमारा मोबाइल में YouTube खुल के रखा है.
So I am also checking. It is live only, so
हाँ,
not a problem.
होगा. काल हुआ तो आज क्यों नहीं होगा?
हाँ
हो ही
सर.
नहीं सकता. आफ्टर ऑल इट इज ए मशीन. वो अपना मर्जी मुताबिक कुछ नहीं कर पाएंगे. You cannot log in from there ना.
सवय सरजी सर तुम्ही इकडे येता का? हम्म. तुम्ही इथे बसा. तर मी आधी बोलते.
नाही तुम्ही बोला.
हं?
लास्ट टीम झालं का झालं?
हो. Share केलं.
ते घालावं लागेल का?
पण माझ्याकडे हेच आहे. दुसरं नाहीये.
मला लागेल जॉईन नाही करता येणार का तुम्हाला?
विल ट्राय. तर
Yes, अभी तो आ गया. Yes.
माझ्याकडे हेच आहे. Will try. तर
লাইক কেন করেছে? भाई साहब
Yes, sir. Yes, I am ready.
So, good morning, everyone. So we can start.
time it is 27, no?
Yeah, 11:28 now.
28.
So,
So another
2 minutes. 2 minutes we can wait, sir.
2 minutes we
yes,
can
sir.
wait.
Yes.
So Pai Saab has already checked his PPT. It is now working.
Okay, sir.
भाई साहब आपका वो पीपीटी जरा ये मोड में रखिएगा क्या नाम है उसको बोलते या दैट्स करेक्ट 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 ठीक
It's fine.
यस यस यस
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
ये
He's
बहुत
fine,
अच्छा
sir.
या भाई साहब मेनी थैंक्स आप ना पहले नेशनल साइंस डे भी आप ये करते दैट इज एक्सेलेंट इट इज एन एडिशनल गिफ्ट फ्रॉम यू this was this I did not expect even but you are giving is really thankful special thanks
Okay, I will do that. Yeah.
and now भाई साहब अभी स्लाइड आप हटा से यहाँ से रिमूव यू कैन टेक इट अवे only thing is there is a few minutes time lag is there, you know that is webex delivery and this YouTube streaming a few minutes time lag I am finding क्योंकि हमारा इधर अभी खुला है YouTube भी खुल के रखा है anyhow वो तो क्या करते it is a technical ultimately they will get it
This
in their lecture
11:30. You can start, I think.
yes it is 11:30 now yes
Okay. So, good morning, everyone. I welcome you all for today's Science Day celebration for this year's theme, that is Global Science for Global Wellbeing. So, I welcome Dr. Our MTI head, Dr. Somnath Datta sir, our invited speaker, Dr. D.S. Pai sir, and Savai Sarje sir from MTI, and all other dignitaries, my colleagues, and all the audiences for this Science Day celebration. So I request here our head MTI, Dr. Somnath Datta sir, to give an introduction to this new initiative which we have started in MTI, that is Shorts Virtual YouTube Lecture Series. So, sir, please may I request you to say a few words.
good morning namaskar to all the distinguished speaker and all the distinguished audience and heartiest welcome and greetings for the National Science Day 20th February 2023. I am very much proud to say that India Meteorological Department's training wing is the pioneer in the meteorological education in India. So since just completion of the Second World War in 1943, India Meteorological Department started giving training in the operational meteorology to all the meteorological personnel, not only for the national participants but also for the international participants. And I am very much proud to say that considering observing the capability of the India Meteorological Department's this human resource development activity in 1986, World Meteorological Organization, the specialized agency of United Nations, recognized the training services rendered by the India Meteorological Department as the regional meteorological training centers, one at Pune, which is presently known as Meteorological Training Institute, and another one is at Delhi, known as Instrument Communication Information System Training Center. It is at Delhi, and both the RTC components are owned by India Meteorological Department. India Meteorological Department's main purpose is to develop develop and strengthen the capacity in the field of operational meteorological and climatological services and other allied services like instrumentation, satellite meteorology, radar, agricultural meteorology, aviation, etc. for the meteorological professionals, national and international. And this service we are going to render for a long time. However, since 2020, we have now started a new initiative that is known as the capacity development of the community in these allied fields. Now, uh, towards that direction, we organize very short virtual YouTube lecture series by our eminent scientists, eminent operational weather forecast, operational weather service persons, operational climate service person, etc. to the community, and it was started in 2021 on this same day, that is National Science Day only. So today on this scientifically auspicious day, we are very happy to get Dr. D.S. Pai uh, for today's lecture. Dr. D.S. Pai need not any introduction in the scientific community, and he is known worldwide for his own contribution. And most important thing is, he is my very good friend, rather I can say bosom friend, and we are the research scholars from the same guru only. That is another one thing, and we work together for a long time, and still we are working. Really, getting such a valued friend, it's a God's blessing, I think. I will not take too much time with this small brief introduction about this new introduction. Now I will leave the mic to our Pallavi madam. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the introduction. I request Savai Sarja sir to say a few words about our invited speaker, Dr. D.S. Pai. Savai Sarja sir, please.
Thank you, madam. I am given the responsibility of introducing today's distinguished speaker, Dr. uh, D. Shivananda Pai. So I feel very happy and indebted gratitude. I express my gratitude and I am introducing. Born on 7th May 1967, Dr. D. Shivananda Pai obtained MSc Physics with first rank from the Mahatma Gandhi University, Quettam, MTech Applied Optics with second rank from Indian Institute of Technology, Delhi, and PhD degree in atmospheric science from the University of Pune. He joined India Meteorological Service in 1992 and worked in India Meteorological Department till 2022. During this period, he has worked in different capacities in research in areas like research, operational weather and climate services, teaching, etc. During 2018-2022, Dr. Pai was head of Office of Climate Research and Services. Presently, Dr. Pai is Director of Climate Institute of Climate Change, Kerala, on deputation from IND. He has made some outstanding contribution in the field of weather and climate services and has published 68 research papers in various national and international journals and 25 research reports. His current fields of interest are climate variability and change and prediction. Dr. Pai has served as a member of WMO CBS expert team on extended and long range forecasting, co-leader of WMO task team on regional climate outlook forums during 2014 to 16, and leader of WMO task team of regional climate outlook forums from 2017 to 2018. During 2018 to 19, he was co-lead of WMO Inter-Program Expert Team on Regional Climate Activities. From 2020, Dr. Pai is working as one of co-lead of working group of basic instructional package for climate services of WMO Expert Team, Capacity Development and Communication. Since 2010, he has also contributed significantly in the preparation of seasonal consensus forecast outlook for South Asian region with South Asian Outlook Climate Outlook Forum, SASCOF. Dr. Pai is the recipient of Award of Excellence of Outstanding Performance for the year 2008 by IMD Pune, Certificate of Merit in Atmospheric Sciences for the year 2010 by Ministry of Earth Science, India Meteorological Society Award for the best paper published on weather and climate services 2011 to 2012, IMS Award for the best paper published on monsoon research 2015 to 2016, and Certificate in Appreciation of Services to the WMO Technical Commission of Climatology 2014 to 2018 for significant contributions while serving as a lead of task team or regional climate outlook forum. So audience will be very happy to look at the forthcoming lecture. So now I give to Pallavi madam.
Yeah, thank you, sir, for this nice introduction of Dr. D.S. Pai, sir. So now, sir, welcome again for this Science Day lecture. So I request you, sir, D.S. Pai, sir, to start your lecture now.
Can you hear me and see my presentation?
Yes, sir, we can hear
Yes,
you.
yes.
Yes,
Thank
yes.
you. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Good morning to all of you. Actually, I am really happy and honored to be here to speak on a very important topic of climate change, its mitigation and adaptation. Is it moving? Yeah. Okay. So
Yes, sir.
today also very important day for all of us. You know that today we are celebrating as a National Science Day. In fact, every year, 28th February is celebrated as National Science Day to commemorate the discovery of Raman effect by one of our most well-known Indian physicist, Sir Chandrasekhar Venkata Raman, on this day in 1928, for which he was awarded the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1930. In fact, just earlier only Dr. Datta said that MTI was declared as a regional med center in 1986. Incidentally, even National Science Day also was declared on as a 28th February was declared as a National Science Day in 1886, and it was started celebrating from next year, that is 1987. We all of us know that the National Science Day is celebrated, in fact, to spread the message of importance of science in all our life, actually day-to-day life. In fact, the necessity of everybody, all, whether it's a children, old people, or everybody should know the importance of science, and they should have a scientific temper. So therefore, this day is celebrated to discuss all the issues and what we have achieved in the country, and that has helped to ease our life, particularly to our very poor people. This day is being celebrated, and this also provides an opportunity to the scientific minded citizens in India to encourage people as well as popularize science and technology. And this also encourages for young people for innovation and come up with a solution, scientific solution for the issues faced by the people in the country as well as globally. Just about Raman effect. Raman effect is a change in the wavelength of light that occurs when a light beam is deflected by molecules. When a beam of light traverses a dust-free, transparent sample of a chemical compound, a small fraction of the light emerges in direction other than that of the incident or incoming beam. Most of the scattered light is of unchanged wavelength. A small part, however, has wavelengths different from that of the incident light, and its presence is a result of Raman effect. Actually, this shift in the wavelength of scattered light from the incident light, that is known as Raman effect. Very interestingly, we have to also see that what actually led Dr. Raman to discover Raman effect he had a habit of looking around what happens around each of us, like when the sun's movement, you know that when it is a horizon during sunrise or sunset, the movement of sun is much faster than when the sun is in the zenith. So he always was curious to know what is the reason behind that. Similarly, another observation that he found was, the sky is a blue, or the ocean, the color of the ocean is blue. In fact, one of his travel from England to India, while crossing the Mediterranean Sea, he found that, he just observed that the ocean water is very blue. He wanted to find out what is the reason behind that. At that time, as per the Rayleigh scattering theory, suggested by Rayleigh, it is because of the Rayleigh scattering that the atmospheric particles scatter more light in the blue wavelength side than the red wavelength side. As a result, the blue light is being scattered more, and we view more of blue side of the wavelength, and that is why the sky is being found to be blue. And the reflection of the sky in the ocean was, he suggested that the reason behind actually the blue color of the ocean. But later Raman observed that that is not the reason. The reason was that when the light passes through the water particle in the ocean, most of the red side get absorbed and blue light actually remained there, and that's why he found that the sky, ocean was much bluer than the sky. So that was one of the development. And coming to the application of the CV Raman effect, actually, it has got application in physics or optics, actually, as we know, and similarly to biotechnology, like studying about DNA and other atomic particles. This effect has been used, and similarly deep space exploration, also Raman effect is being well used. So therefore, that is why, looking into the importance of this discovery, that CV Raman was awarded Nobel Prize in Physics in 1930. In fact, he was the first Asian scientist who received a Nobel Prize for any section of the science or any stream of the science. So that was the very importance of this, Raman effect, and the Nobel Prize he received in 1930. Now, looking into his, this discovery in 28 February from 1887, India government started to declare nationally to celebrate this as a National Science Day, and each year, each of the theme, a theme of the Science Day changes. This year, the theme is Global Science for Global Well-being, just to highlight that anything, in order for human well-being globally, we need a lot of understanding about the science, technology, and innovation, and this has to be, in fact, used for all well-being of the human, particularly the very poor and downtrodden people of our society. So even some of the examples that you can see, that the science and technological development that has helped us for our life to be more easy, like example, the mobile smart phone that we use. You can see that with a smartphone, you don't need any watch now, radio or a TV is not necessary. Even you can operate, bank accounts by sitting at the home using a smartphone, or you can book the railway ticket, etc. And similar, a lot of innovation has been done within the country also, like which had helped all of us, by easing our life. A few years back and all, always that for taking cash from the bank and all, you had to remain very big queue. That nowadays, with a smartphone, as I said, you can transfer money from one places to other, or one person to the other person. Even for purchasing vegetables, Nowadays there is a lot of mechanism by which you can transfer the money. So this development of the science and technology has actually eased our life. And similarly in 2019, actually our scientists could develop vaccination against the COVID, and that actually helped life, saving millions of life within the country as well as many parts of the globe. So that is the importance of the science in our day-to-day life. So here, by celebrating National Science Day, the more the main importance is that to make use of science and technology to help people for the well-being of humans, particularly in our country as well as globally. So looking into the importance of this topic, I also selected a topic which are very close to, very most important for all over the globe actually, which is climate change, which is a very important issue. Climate crisis is a very important issue world over, like war or economic recession, etc. Because the deaths and the loss of property related to climate change and in fact are much higher than war that has happened at any time of the in the globe actually. So that is the importance of the topic. So in fact, you will be knowing that recently in 2021 a Nobel Prize was in physics was given to climate scientists actually, because of the importance of their discovery. All of you know that Socorro Monabe and Klaus Hasselmann, and along with him actually Giorgio Parisi was awarded 2021 Nobel Prize in physics. In fact, the first two, Manabe and Klaus Hasselmann, they had actually helped developing computer models of the Earth's climate that could predict the impact of global warming. However, Parisi was for entirely different topic. Actually, it was concerned with a metal alloy called spin glass, but the Nobel Committee saw a spin glass as a microcosm for the complex behavior of the Earth's climate. So because of the similarity in the uncertainty and difficulty in the prediction, etc., similarity into that he also was provided along with these two climate scientists, Nobel Prize was given to 2021. Now coming to my topic, as I said, a very important topic, climate change, mitigation and adaptation. In my topic, I will be covering the following things actually. First of all, what and why is the global warming and climate change? Because before we understand what is the impact of global warming or climate change, or how that can be mitigated or adapt with the global climate change, we should know what and why is the global warming. And then also I will be discussing about impacts of changing climate on human well-being, and then managing risk of climate change for building resilience against climate change. All of us know that there are two ways of managing the climate change impact or risk related to climate change. One is the climate change mitigation and another is the adaptation. So I will discuss about that in my later. Under that we will have one or few topics will be discussed, and finally the conclusion of my presentation. So this is the first slide actually. What is the global warming? In fact, all of us know that global warming is an alarming phenomena that is characterized by drastic increase in the average global temperature in the Earth's atmosphere. In fact, you can see that I'm showing in this diagram. Actually, this blue color shows the temperature measurement done through proxy data from tree rings and corals or ice cores, etc. These are shown in blue, and the red color line indicate actually the observation from the direct observation taken by met observatories world over actually. And here you can see that this is given as a global temperature, global averaged temperature for the last more than 2000 years or so, okay, up to 2021 actually. So you can see that in the recently after 1880, this red color shows that there is a very sharp or sudden increase in the global average temperature, whereas prior to that, what we call pre-industrial period, that they were not having that much of a trend. In fact, there was a slight decreasing trend after 1000 or 1500 years, that you can see that there was a decreasing trend. So this sudden or sharp increase in the temperature in recent decade is generally known as the global warming. Now, at present, it is being found that the global temperature has risen by around 1 degree centigrade compared to the pre-industrial period of 1850 to 1900. Actually, global warming also has led us to another issue, what is called climate change. In fact, people call both this climate change and global warming are used interchangeably, though they are slightly different. In fact, climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperatures and weather pattern, and the sudden increase in temperature, that change in the global, only that what we call global warming. So therefore, global warming is a very strong indicator of the global climate change. So earlier I had shown you the average global temperature, average over both land and ocean. But if you analyze the temperature average separately on land surface and ocean surface, you will find that this red line shows land surface. They are much more, increase is much stronger than the temperature of the ocean. The main reason being the land surface has got a relatively less specific heat capacity compared to the liquid, that is water. So that's why land surface temperatures are increasing much faster. Now, if we observe the spatial distribution of the temperature, that you will find that last 50 years or so, the temperature increase has been much more, that is about 2 to 4 degree over the polar region, particularly North Pole, and in the South Pole actually, and compared to the tropical region. So as you go in a higher latitude, the temperature increase has been more due to the global warming. Now, as we expect, when the temperatures increases in the polar region, naturally we also know that there is a lot of ice extend over the Arctic as well as Antarctic region. So therefore, during summer, there is a melting of ice occurs actually. But in recent years, we find that the ice melts more. As a result, extent of ice has decreased after 1980, much more stronger than the earlier time period. So there is a more melting of the ice, resulting in less ice extent, and also it is also seen that because of the absorption of the heat energy by the ocean heat content also is getting increased in recent years. Subsequently, there is a because of the melting of the ice and increase in the temperature of the ocean, there is also increase in the global average sea level. So this has got a very significant impact on the countries which has got a large coastal areas like India. And along with the indicators like this, ice or in the sea, increase in the sea level, increase in the ocean heat extent, we also find that there are significant changes in the global extreme weather and climate event. Like we will find that there is a significant increased precipitation in many parts of the country. In fact, the frequency of the heavy precipitation has increased over many land areas. Similarly, there has been more intense and longer droughts since 1970, particularly in the tropics and subtropics. The cold days and cold nights are getting less frequent. hot days and hot nights are and heat waves are becoming more frequent. It's very very clear. When the temperature increase, it is expected that hot days and hot nights will get increased, and at the same time cold days and cold nights also getting decreased. In fact, that last 2 or 3 years, places like Canada or North USA or Europe, etc., where generally we don't expect temperatures to increase more than 40 or 45, we had seen that in many days the temperature continuously 5 to 10 days, etc., temperature had gone up to 45 to 50 days, resulting in large deaths, death of people, mortality in those areas actually. So these all are indicating that there is a significant increase in the temperature, as well as the extreme hot events, as well as the increased precipitation events. There also has been increase in the intense tropical activity, etc. In summary, we can say that the current temperature rise of approximately 1 degree centigrade is detrimental and encompasses extreme weather events, rising sea level, melting ice sheets, shifting habitats, etc. Now, once we understood that there is a global warming is happening, climate change is happening, there is a change in the impact on extreme weather event, naturally the question will be asked is why there is a climate change, or why is it a naturally all of us know that the temperature or the main source of energy for the earth is the sun. Therefore, natural question that come to our mind is that is it the climate change is a natural phenomena or is due to something else? So naturally we have to see that whether there is a temperature rise due to sun or not. For that you need a data. So here you can see that in the diagram, the yellow light shows the total solar irradiance at the Earth's surface. You can see that from 1880s to around 1960s, there was increase in the solar irradiance, and then thereafter you can see there is a decrease, though sometimes there we had because of volcanic eruptions, etc., there was a sharp decrease, but mostly you can see that after an increase there is a decreasing trend in the solar irradiance. However, in between you can see that cyclic nature of the solar changes in the solar irradiance, what we call 11-year average yearly, that plotted, and it actually indicates 11-year cycle in the solar, which is well known to all of us. And at the same time, this red plot shows the temperature of the global temperature. So you will see that up to around 1960s, it is almost keeping with the increase in the solar irradiance. But thereafter, though solar irradiance was reduced, the temperature shows a significant increase. It is keep on increasing, now reaching to around 1 degree compared to it's a pre-industrial area. So this clearly shows that actually that the increase in recent years is not because of the sun, but something else. Now, studies by several scientists during the last several decades, it shows that 97% of the 100 studies, if you see, that they all feel that the climate change is because of the human activities. And what are those human activity? They are actually the activities which actually provides or causes emissions of greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide, methane, and nitrous oxide. And the source of carbon dioxide is that burning of fossil fuels for your vehicular industry, or any purpose that to generate electricity, etc., or other that fuels that we use for flight aircrafts or railways, coal that we use. So these are all actually causing or burning of coal for home purpose cooking, etc., also leading to emission of carbon dioxide. And other reasons are deforestation also, And similarly, methane is caused by agriculture activity, landfills, rotting of vegetables or meat, etc., or foods also causing. And similarly, nitrous oxide from the fertilizers, because naturally we know that our population globally has increased, has doubled during the last around 50 to 75 years. In fact, in India itself, during the our independence, our total population was only 35 crore. Now, as of now, our population is around 1.4 billion. That is 140 crore, which means that we have added nearly 100 crore after independence. So naturally, to feed all these people, you have to do more agriculture activity, more crop production is necessary. We also know that when British left us just after independence, even for 35 crore people itself, food was not enough, and in fact, many deaths were because of the hunger. Many deaths were recorded during that time. So, however, the our scientists could actually find out work very hard, and as of now, all of us know that India has got a big storage of food actually. In fact, 1 year to 2 year, even if we have got a big loss in the agricultural activity, we can feed people for the next 1 to 2 years. So that much store is there in the country. So naturally, when you have more agriculture, naturally to feed more people means that you are emitting more methane, and you are using more fertilizers for to grow more, means more nitrous oxide will be given, and to construct more habitats for the people means that you will be more infrastructure development is necessary, more industrial activity for giving more jobs to the people. So this all has resulted increase in the greenhouse gases actually, and that is being said to be reason behind the global warming or climate change. Now, that I simply say that greenhouse gases are causing actually warming of the globe. You need how this you should know what is the science behind this global warming, or how these greenhouse gases are causing increase in the temperature of the earth. So that will be explained in this slide. So assume that all of we know that the source of the energy for the earth is from the sun. Actually, the radiation coming from the suns warms the earth's surface. In fact, around 50% of the solar light reaches to the surface, and when it gets warm earth's surface, it emits in the terrestrial it emits terrestrial radiation, that is an entirely higher wavelength region. And if assuming that if there is no atmosphere, no atmosphere means no greenhouse gases also. If we assume that there was no atmosphere, our temperature, black body temperature of the earth would have been around minus 18 degree, which means that earth would have been very cool, very cold in most part of the area. And in fact, even life would not have been possible with this very low temperature. However, all of us know that we have got an atmosphere around the earth's surface, and it also, though nitrogen is the highest component in the atmosphere, we also have got many trace gases, greenhouse gases as a trace gases like carbon dioxide, methane, etc. One of the feature of this greenhouse gases is that they don't absorb the radiation in the solar wavelength. Actually, solar radiation don't absorb, but however it absorb in the terrestrial window. The terrestrial radiation they absorb, and after absorption they themselves get more warmer, and start emitting. Some amount is getting emitted towards the space, and some part get emitted back to the earth surface. Now what happened is that earth surface already receiving solar light and some part of the terrestrial light also. As a result, both will be absorbed by the earth surface, and its temperature increases. When the temperature increases, it again emits more terrestrial radiation, again it get absorbed by the greenhouse gases and sends back. And just to say, this greenhouse gases acts like a blanket and always traps this heat energy, terrestrial radiation, below it, and this result actually increased temperature of the Earth's surface. And if we see the temperature, because of the presence of the atmosphere, the temperature is found to be plus 15 degree. So that means from minus 18 to plus 15, or there is a increase of 33 degree temperature compared to when there was not an atmosphere there. Therefore, this impact of a greenhouse gases, because of its presence in the atmosphere, that increasing the temperature of the Earth's surface to plus 15 is called as a greenhouse effect, though strictly we should have called it as a atmosphere. And this has helped, actually this is a boon to the Earth, that it has a greenhouse effect has helped life to be possible in the Earth. However, all of us know that, like amritam adhiga, more amrit if you take, that will cause, it is a more poisonous actually. Similarly, if you have more greenhouse gases, that will turn blessing into bane. So that is what is happening now. What is happening is that now, because of the more human activities, more and more greenhouse gases are getting emitted, and as a result, it become atmosphere is becoming thicker by the greenhouse gases. The blanket is becoming more thicker. As a result, we are feeling more temperature in the Earth's surface and many parts of the globe. Now, this has got a similarity to the greenhouse gases made of glass in the which are generally used in the cold countries to grow plants which would have been otherwise not possible with the very low temperature in those countries. So this greenhouse are generally used in the for growing plants. The property of the glass houses are that it allows solar radiation to enter into the house, greenhouse houses, these glass houses. But when this temperature, when this radiation warms the air inside the houses, it not possible to pass this glass barrier, stops it or limits it within the houses. As a result, the temperature of the greenhouse houses increases inside, though temperature outside the houses are less, and that creates a conducive condition for plants to grow. So that is why, because of the similarity of the greenhouse, how the greenhouse is warming the temperature inside the houses, greenhouses, that we call this atmospheric effect also greenhouse effect. Now, another just a simple analog that I can offer you is that, when you will keep a car and all outside in the sunlight, you know that after some time, if you open the car, the temperature inside, the air inside the car is very warm and you feel very hot actually. So generally what happened is that solar radiation enters into glass, the window glasses in the car, and it warms the air inside the car. But the glass actually stops the conduction process or a convection process to from this air inside the car to move outside, to go outside and get it cool. As a result, the temperature inside the car increases, and that is just an analog to the greenhouse effect, just to understand. Now, the question naturally come to particularly in the student is that, is it a greenhouse gas, greenhouse effect, or the warming, global warming is only observed in the Earth, or similar properties are also observed in other planet? As I already said, the natural greenhouse effect, is actually was a blessing to us, because in the Earth, the temperature, it increased from minus 18 to plus 15, helping the life to exist in the Earth. But the situation, if you observe in the other planet, things are different actually. And it is found that the climate of any planet is decided by three things: its mass, its distance from the sun, and the composition of its atmosphere. Naturally, if planets are more closer to the sun, you will get a more energy, solar energy will be reaching to that planet. And far away, if you are far away from the sun, planets are far away, less solar energy reaches to us. So we can see that if you take example of Venus, which is more closer to the sun compared to the Earth, you will see that the temperature has, if you explore the Venus, you will find that it has got a very thick atmosphere compared to the Earth. In the Earth's atmosphere, the carbon dioxide is only 0.03% of the total, there. Whereas in the Venus, the 96% of the atmosphere is carbon dioxide, which means that the thickness of the concentration of the greenhouse gases in the Venus atmosphere is very large. As a result, because of the closeness to the Earth, sun, and because of the large carbon dioxide or greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, its temperature has become plus 420, which means that anything that enters, come to the atmosphere of that planet will get immediately burn out. So life is almost impossible. We can say that impossible in the Venus. But if you see the another planet which is neighboring to us, Mars, we find that it is its mass is smaller and is far away, far away from sun compared to the Earth. Actually, its mass also small. And if you see the atmosphere, it is a very thin atmosphere. Most of its carbon dioxide is close to the ground. As a result, the greenhouse effect is almost negligible here, and we find that the temperature of the Mars is a minus 50, which means that comparing these three planets, Mars is coldest actually with a minus 50, and because of this, life in this planet also is difficult. So in one planet, very high temperature because of the thick carbon dioxide, thick atmosphere, and here because of thin atmosphere, temperatures are very small. In that way, in both this planet, life was a difficult life. We can say that life is difficult, and Earth is the only planet where we have got a conducive type of climate, and we are not aware whether there is a such similar planet in any other galaxies. But as of solar system, Earth, as of now, we know that the life is possible only in the Earth surface. So, and this climate has got a very important role to play in this observation. Now, once we have learned about what is global warming, climate change, and we found that the greenhouse gases are the main reason. Increase in the greenhouse gases are the increase for reason for global warming and climate change. Natural question will come to our mind is whether this will continue, the warming will continue in the future also. So we had a climate models. As I said, the Nobel Prize also was received for developing the climate models. This climate models has become much grown much better now, and using this climate models with different your greenhouse scenarios and other socio-economic scenario, if you observe, we will see that the temperatures are likely to continue in the future also. Only if we don't actually reduce significantly, it is expected that by 2050, our temperatures can be more than 2 degree actually, and by 2100, it will be around very close to between 1.5 to 2 degree. But at the same time, if we don't control more further emission, if we don't have any control on that, the temperature can increase even up to 4 to 5 degree. So if that happens, the life will be totally catastrophic, because already with this increase in 1 degree or 1.5 degree, it's a scenario itself. We are finding there is a large increase in the extreme weather events, with a large amount of droughts are occurring, heavy rainfalls are occurring, and its impact is causing loss of life and migration. Because of that, it is impacting various social parts, categories of the society, and therefore we need to work towards how it can be managed. Impact of the climate change can be managed. Now, before I go to the topics how we can manage the risk related to climate change, let us quickly see what are the socio-economic impacts of global warming or the climate change. So you will see that there are impacts, because of the rise in the sea level or increased precipitation, increase in the drought, increase in the temperature. It has impact on various, sectors of our society, like health. For example, increased temperature actually increases the temperature stress on the body actually, and similarly large droughts and large heavy rainfall is impacting our agriculture. As a result, that can lead to malnutrition actually, particularly for poor people, lack of food. And similarly, it can cause increase in the vector-borne diseases, infectious diseases, decrease in the air quality, respiratory diseases, declining working capacity, because people will have, if the temperature is very high, people cannot, laborers cannot work outside. So that also actually causes the problem of livelihood of the people. So there are many health impacts of the climate change. Similar is the impact on agriculture, declining crop productivity, increased irrigation needs, increase in the habitable areas of pest, food insecurity. There are many other aspects of the impact of climate change on agriculture. I will not go detail in each of that, because that itself, each impact in each of the sector itself, we may need 1 hour lecture separately. Similarly, there is impact on water resources, shortage in water supply, declining water quality, freshwater scarcity, etc. Impact on coastal areas, erosion of beaches, coastal flooding, additional cost of protecting coastal communities, etc. Impact on ecosystem and biodiversity, loss of ecosystem and living organism, cryosphere, glacier shrinking, etc. And most important is livelihood of our people actually, because without the job, people will have a problem for them as well as for children, particularly for very poor people. Climate change has got a large impact on day-to-day livelihood of the people, impact on activities related to agriculture, food security, livestock raising, fishing, tourism, transport, energy production, education, health, etc. You know that when it will have an impact on this sector, naturally there will be job loss, and that will actually impact the livelihood of the person. And similarly, there can be impact on infrastructure and resulting large droughts and landslide, etc. Or lack of food security. People, that can cause actually migration of the people from one place to the other. So as a result, even there can be all civil problem, areas where people get migrate from one place to the other. So there is a large impact on day-to-day life of the human being. So we need to know how that can be managed. So coming to the managing risk of climate change and building resilience, already I said the importance of why we should manage the risk climate change. To manage climate risk, 2 types of measures or responses are generally applied. One is called mitigation, and another is called adaptation. Mitigation means is to reduce the source of the risk actually. Here we are talking about risk related to the climate change. So how to reduce the risk related to climate change? That means we should know what actually causes the climate change. So if we can reduce the source which is causing the climate change, we can reduce actually impact and intensity of the climate change also. So naturally, already we said, we found increase in the emission of the greenhouse gases are causing the climate change. So therefore, as a mitigation measure, we need to reduce the greenhouse gases in the atmosphere. and that can be done in two ways. One is the reducing sources of these gases, like reducing burning of the fossil fuels for electricity, heat, or transport, etc. So that means that we need to find out alternate energy sources in place of using fossil fuels. So we can do that. If we can do that, we can actually cut the use of fossil fuel for our day-to-day purposes. And similarly, another is not only that you can have reduce the greenhouse gases by cutting the sources of the greenhouse gases, you can also use things which can absorb, or where things like forest, where actually oceans or forest and soil, if they can actually capture this carbon dioxide and organic matter within them, and thereby can act like a sink. We know that all of us know that the forest, if you have got a large forest, during the photosynthesis, these leaves of the trees or plants, they absorb a lot of carbon dioxide for photosynthesis process, and they convert this carbon dioxide into carbon organic materials, like their various parts of the trees. And when these trees leaves fall in the soil, they actually go underground slowly, and thereby they all act like a sink of carbon dioxide or greenhouse gases. So these are the two ways, by enhancing sinks and similarly reducing the source, that you can mitigate. Now, adaptation is actually involves adjusting to actual or expected future climate. So why adaptation is important? Adaptation is important because see, even if we tried now to take action on mitigating climate change by reducing the greenhouse gases, already there are a lot of greenhouse gases already emitted there, and their life period is 50 to 100 years. In some cases it can go beyond 100 years. These gases already emitted may remain there. Therefore, even if we totally cut the greenhouse gases, what they're already emitted, they can cause the greenhouse effect, and this impact of the global warming or climate change is going to remain there for some more decades. So till that, how to adjust to the global warming or climate change, that is what we call adaptation. So in short, actually, you can tell mitigation help us to avoid unmanageable, actually, while adaptation help us manage unavoidable. Because we know that actually there are greenhouse gases, they are unmanageable actually, but by mitigating, by cutting use of that, we can actually reduce, they can reduce the source of climate change. And in the adaptation cases, actually, though its impacts are unavoidable, impacts of climate change are unavoidable, through proper adaptation strategies we can manage, or in sometimes we can also take advantage if impact of climate change is advantageous to us, like you get a lot of good rainfall amount is there, or climate situation is like that, you can have more crop production is possible. So during that time we can take advantage of that situation, and that can be converted as a favorable. So adaptation strategy not only help us to reduce the risk, live with the managing the risk, actually sometime the impact of the climate change also can be used as a advantageous to us. So that is what we call adaptation. Now, when we talk about the mitigation of the greenhouse gases, we should know what are the sources of the greenhouse gases and what are the different greenhouse gases are there. So if we see, globally, the different kind of greenhouse gases, we will see that the maximum around 65% of the greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide, and that is caused from fossil fuel and industrial process. And next is again 11% carbon dioxide through forestry and other land use, because of the afforestation, deforestation, etc., and or land use, land cover changes. 11% are contributed. That means around 76% of the greenhouse gases are carbon dioxide. and 16% is from the methane. Already we have seen that methane is coming from agriculture activities, waste management, energy use, biomass burning. They are all contributing to methane. And then nitrous oxide, basically they are due to the fertilizers process. And then you have got fluorinated gases, 2%. They are mainly from the industrial process, refrigeration process, etc. Economic sector, they are contributing, which are contributing to the greenhouse gases. You will see that maximum is caused from electricity and heat production industry. They are around 25%, followed by agriculture, forestry, etc. They are contributing around 24% of the greenhouse gases, followed by transportation industry and the transportation, which is 21 and 14%, and other energy 10%, and buildings from the whole use of cooking gases or coal, etc. for at the home building or other keeping the temperature of the building cooler or warmer, also energy use being used, and they are all contributing to the greenhouse gases actually. So once we understood what are the sources of which gases are maximum greenhouse gases are contributed, and which are the process that contribute to this greenhouse gases, we can plan some ways to mitigate the climate change. Now I will be discussing in the next 2 or 3 slides about ways to mitigate climate change. First way is by smart and green transportation. That means instead of using petrol or fossil fuel being used there, you need some alternate, like electric vehicle can be done, or bicycles can be used for traveling smaller distance, or using public transport, etc. Or in or hybrid cars can be used where electric battery and fossil fuel, like that. Or in smaller places you can walk, if schools are nearby, or in malls and all, if they are nearby, instead of using vehicle you can go directly walk, and thereby the greenhouse generation can be reduced, fossil fuel burning can be reduced, and thereby we can reduce the try to mitigate the climate change. Similarly is used for local made items, what we call vocal for local. That means if you use only things which are produced locally, because we know that if many things, if we are coming from the other country or other part of the nation, it needs some transport is involved in that, or packaging is involved. So this actually causes the carbon footprint into the atmosphere. So if we use only local product, naturally that can be reduced, the carbon footprint can be reduced. That's why we actually call for vocal for local. Not only that, that also gives you an opportunity for the local population, businessman, some living for them also. Similarly, cleaner cooking. So many times it has been seen that by use of kerosene or coal, etc., not only it causes the greenhouse gases emission, but also causes a lot of breathing diseases, related to breathing problem. Particularly, many deaths globally has been recorded, particularly among children under 5, due to pneumonia, etc., because of the inhalation of air pollution, household air pollution. So by cleaner cooking gases, like electric gases, or which produces less electricity, your greenhouse emission, we can actually try to mitigate the or reduce the emission of greenhouse gases. Similarly, sustainable eating. If we people have observed that to produce meat, if we can reduce the meat consumption, because meat, for production of the meat equivalent to a similar amount of vegetable, it actually causes more emission of the carbon dioxide, because mainly because not only to grow livestock you need to spend a lot of water and other forest has to be cut, etc. Or and not only that, after producing of the meat, actually that has to be kept in refrigerator. So as a result, and similarly transport from one place to the other. So meat industry actually causing a lot of greenhouse gases. So it is suggested that if we can remove some part of the meat from our diet and add fruits and vegetable, that can also reduce. Actually, if we go for a plant rich diet, we can actually help in reducing greenhouse gases. Another way is by reducing use of electricity. That means energy efficient electrical instrument, like you can use LED bulb or replace old fridges, etc., and use new fridges with more energy efficient fridges, etc. And similarly, even in the construction of the houses is made in such a way that it keeps more cooler, or as per the condition that you require. We can reduce the electricity used. I will not go very detailed into that. So by reducing the energy use also, we can because energy more energy that you use, you will need to produce more energy, and that can cause a greenhouse effect. Similarly, use of renewable energy like wind energy, solar energy, nuclear energy in place of fuel based thermal plants, etc., or hydroelectric energy, etc. We can dependency on fossil fuel can be reduced. Coal based power generation can be reduced. So there has been actually, even in within the country, in Prime Minister itself taking a lot of interest in developing generating more solar and wind based energy. And India in fact has promised in its national determined contribution that they will reduce use of electricity by around 2030. 50% of the electricity generated will be from the renewable energy. That means we will be able to meet the requirement of energy requirement of the people, 50% of the requirement from renewable energy like solar, wind, etc. So we also have to try ourselves, how we can go for acts that will reduce the greenhouse gas. Similarly, by planting or protecting trees or afforestation, more forest area if we can increase, and our maintaining our environment like earlier, we can also reduce the it can work like a sink for the carbon dioxide or other greenhouse gases. And similarly, another act is that though that is carbon tax is not at present there in our country, but in many parts of the globe, the carbon tax is being used as a to discourage use of greenhouse gases for electricity and other thing. So by depending on how much carbon emission or greenhouse gases are emitted from the industry, they have to pay more tax. So by putting putting more tax, it is being discouraged, so that industry goes for a more greener technology to reduce the carbon emission. So that is the idea behind the carbon tax. Okay, now that I have spoken about various steps for mitigation, I will talk about adaptation measures in various adaptation measures in different sectors like biodiversity and conservation. So we can take adaptation measures like ex situ conservation and seed banks to propagate local species, actually biomonitoring network in areas of high biodiversity and high predicted climate change, removal of alien species that negatively affect water supplies and adapted to warmer and drier climate, shoreline management, etc. Similarly, by improving disaster management, that is improved early warning system. We know that we have got a very good early warning system for cyclone and extreme rainfall prediction in the country, and as a result, death of people, previously some few decades back in 1970 and all, we know during the Bola cyclone, the death of people in Bangladesh and neighboring West Bengal was around 3 lakhs to 5 lakhs people actually. Now this has reduced by improved early warning. Things has improved, and now you will see that deaths are only that can be counted with your finger, and in many times there may not be any death are not being recorded. So improving early warning actually helps in reducing impact of climate change, and similarly improving better disaster management, etc. also can improve our we can live with the impact, we can reduce the impact of the climate change. Similarly, in the health sector, regularly reviewing the health care components of the disaster response plan actually, and predicting what can happen depending on temperature and rainfall, what type of vector-borne diseases can be there, and by taking precautions we can by taking precaution for vector and waterborne diseases and predicting that, we can actually reduce impact of the climate change. In fact, IMD Pune provides an advisory on health related to vector-borne diseases sector advisory. So that actually helps in reducing impact due to the health climate change to the health. And by in the water and sanitation, water reuse and recycling can actually help us, and similarly initiating water conservation, and we also had to educate students as well as the population how to initiate water conservation, rainfall, how we can harness rainfall and reduce the dependency of water from the groundwater, because otherwise you have to pump more groundwater and thereby use more energy for that purpose. So we need to work on those aspects. Similarly, by promoting local food production through small scale farmers program, we can improve the food security, and similarly by developing drought resistant crops, etc. We can during even drought or high temperature, we can improve the crop production and thereby reduce the impact of adaptation. Similarly, we can have keep encourage in the community level food reserves to be used for emergency situations, improved irrigation facility, etc. also actually we can reduce impact of climate change. And similarly, we also need to concentrate on infrastructure, particularly the modern infrastructure. Whenever we implement, we have to ensure new or upgraded infrastructure like roads, electricity are not located in flood prone low lying areas. Even houses, when we prepare, we have to ensure that the houses are not constructed in low lying area. But if it is not possible, it is very essential to be done. We have to prepare in such a way that we give they are prepared and over stilt, so that even during the flood also people are not getting affected. Okay, so we need to improve design, or the climate change impact has to be taken into account when design modern infrastructure. Okay, now if we go through the technologies that will help, last 3 or 4 slides that we would like to help tell you. Now this is the message for young people, those who are attending this lecture actually. As I said, we have to improve our adaptation strategies. For helping that, we also need development of new technologies, like innovation around infectious diseases. More vaccines or drugs are necessary. There is necessary for innovation in drug delivering. Improved drugs themselves is necessary. So thereby we can take more prevention, and impact of infectious diseases can be reduced. Similarly, for flood safeguard, property owners and farmers in vulnerable regions will increasingly look to technologies that can help them adapt to the potential floods. Actually, we need seeds and crops that are to be developed that are more resilient to floods and high temperature. So new technology, gene technology also can be used for that. Similarly, we have to improve further weather forecasting and climate forecasting technologies has to be improved, which are a continuous process. To support weather forecasting, we need improved satellites, softwares, computing facilities, sensors, etc. need to be developed. And to help people to in an emergency situation, we need also to have to be develop some insurance support to, so that the risk related to extreme weather and higher temperature can be managed. So we also need to develop those type of things, so that in a good times people can contribute into the insurance, and in when there is an emergency, insurance company can support the people, particularly during bad health, or when there is a loss of property, etc. Insurance will come in a handy actually. We need more resilient crops for high temperature and floods, etc. So genetically modified crops will be a very helpful. Supercomputing has to be done, are necessary, because many times these climate models or weather models, to be run much faster, and improved physics and dynamics is to be implemented. We need a high power, very high power supercomputing is necessary, which in fact need only less energy utilization. So those type of computer we can develop, that also will help us actually improving early warning systems. And then sensors for measuring temperature or other aspect, soil moisture, continuous soil moisture monitoring, etc., water levels, stream flow, etc. This type of, to deal with that, we need continuous monitoring of these events. So improved sensors are another technology that is being necessary. And then similarly, technologies are necessary for water purification, because of the sea level rise, etc. Ocean water are entering to our land region, contaminating groundwater and drinking water, pure water. So we need to develop improved water purification technology, particularly that use less energy for purification. So that will also will help us improving water quality and supporting people. And water recycling technology, beyond resalination, other water technologies including converting gray water, recycling of the gray water, and harvesting rainwater for crops and every human uses, that has to be done actually. The key to this type of technology is that it has to be inexpensive, because particularly for people, poor people has to be used, that has to come in a very low cost technology should come. So these are all the challenges for the people, for the young generation to come with a solution. And similarly, efficient irrigation systems are necessary. So just to say, to conclude, that there is a challenge to the young people due to our climate change and its impact on the various sectors, and we need to mitigate both. We need to mitigate. For that, we need to scientific and technological solution for supporting mitigation and adaptation strategies. So several technologies has to be developed. So that's why this today, the 28th February, is very important, that this is day is used for awareness of issues that is affecting the human well-being, is being being discussed, and also solution for that. So that will help, when we will discuss the problem, and we will discuss the solution, and what are the if we can tell young minds what are the issues, they can come up with a solution, and that can help us to reduce the impact. And this climate change, as I already said, is one of the greatest complex development challenges for our time. Its impact on things that very important for human well-being, like water, energy, transportation, wildlife, agriculture, ecosystem, livelihood, health, are already visible and likely to continue. So the impact of global warming on different sectors of the society are interrelated, and we need a solution. We need to reduce that its impact, mitigate its impact. Scientific evidence shows that the problem is worsening fast and is already stretching the ability of the human and natural system to adapt. Mitigation and adaptation measures should be balanced to meet the challenges of the global warming in decades to come. Global warming risks are not distributed equally, that are also important, and neither are pathways to climate adaptation. So that means though global or climate changes are global scale, but its impacts are local. So when you identify the local solution, that has to be local. Both adaptation, particular adaptation measures need to be suited to local people and local geography and local other financial capability, vulnerability, etc. has to be taken into account. So the climate adaptation strategies needs to be designed as per the local requirement and brought into the mainstream of the economic policies and development projects by government also. So this is what the message that I want to give you on today. So our take home message is that each of us must take steps to small step to protect our Earth's climate, so that when the next generation, our children or our grandchildren or next generation will come, they will get, they can live in a better climate, and the impact that we are expecting in the future, that its risk can be reduced significantly, so that they can, we need to provide a safe and greener earth to hands of our next generation. That is our main message of this lecture. Thank you. Thanks for the attention. Thank you.
Pallavi, you may please pick up 5 questions from the audience, and if remaining questions, if it is there, that we will send to Paisa for later reply. But 5 questions, if there are questions, then maximum 5 questions you just pick up, and I will request Paisa, if possible, to clarify. Is there any questions asked by the audience, madam?
So far, no questions, sir.
Huh?
Sir, I have put in the chat box. If any question is there, please. So far, no one has posted
Okay.
any question.
Okay. Okay, no questions asked yet. So now today I will become little bit selfish. Generally in such type of lecture, I just give the opportunity for proposing vote of thanks to others. But today I am little bit selfish. Today I don't want to give this opportunity to others. I just want to give the propose the vote of thanks. Actually, today's PISAP's lecture is not just a lecture by a scientist. That is the
Datta sir,
uh,
before that, I actually will thank you and all of the MTI and IMD for giving me an opportunity to deliver a lecture in a very important way.
You are very much part of IMT, sir. Actually, you remember we tried to get the debate lecture by you only, but that time you were busy in some other work. So anyhow, that is the beauty of Dr. Pai's lecture. Dr. Pai is not just a scientist. He has proved that he is a great teacher also. And it is a known to us. Now it has become known to all the scientific community. I am very much thankful to Dr. Pai for his kind acceptance to our humble invitation to deliver a talk on this scientifically auspicious day to support continuing these humble new initiatives of the Meteorological Training Institute. I am very much thankful to Mr. Gauri Shankar Sawai Sarje, Srimati Pallavi, then Sirish Khedikar, then Sunny Chuk, and all the audiences for making this event very much successful. Thank you very much. Namaskar. Jai Hind.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, sir.
So now we will just close the meeting. Paisa. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.